They wanted
Mid-10th
to see what our highest.
So
A week
I just
before,
started one.
you can cancel, but you can still get fined.
Rank.
a week before we would say, if we get any closer, they're gonna find us. And I don't know what AMC for us.
I think they were 1 week out too.
Yeah.
So
I think AC was 1 week out too.
Is everything at the same television?
It should
You can't blame
we'll avoid that.
Can't blame them.
See, when we had it, have you ever been to one in St. Cloud? Has they ever been?
no.
We used to go there, but you could never get in the main hotel and then they had like 3 other hotels around the city.
That's why they're starting to penalize people, because this way, otherwise people are staying in other hotels, and they can't get, and then people don't use their rooms. And so then, they've got an open room that nobody's able to utilize, which is not fair to other people.
Mhm.
And it is in high demand. Those things are in high demand.
We're almost full already. So I think that they had said that a couple weeks back.
I think last year I had to reach out to Lori because they actually had to extend the block. Because it was so quick that it filled up so quick that even by the time that I got around to it, it was like. Even when you call down there. But sometimes that online, if you can't call, they're able to get you in someplace. Last year, I think it was last year, they weren't.
And you always jump on it right away when you get the emails too.
I do now.
Oh, you didn't then? Okay.
I mean, I tried to, and the David also aware too, so if I don't get an email, he'll send me something.
Okay. I know when we met last week, she had said that the rooms were almost full already. And I think that's why they decided that they needed to add another penalty, just so that people will communicate.
Yeah, yeah.
Do it right.
I think we talked about it. That's it. We have 4. 4 left. 4 slide 5 done. Yes. Yeah, we're not. I would say handshake. Handshake, but we're just tentative. Okay. And then personnel. This is all pretty straightforward.
Ready?
It's all.
All right.
It is, I mean.
I'm going to call the meeting to order. If you'll rise and say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
So this is the time that we're open for public forum. Is there anybody who would like to speak? Was that a yes? Did you? Okay, so then we're going to go on to adopt the agenda. Is there any additions or corrections that anybody has? No. So can we have a motion to
I'll move Ludwig.
that?
Second.
Josh. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We're going to approve the minutes from October 3rd and the summary for publication.
I'll move the minutes.
I'll second.
It's Josh and JJ. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. And then we have the minutes of boards, reports, and correspondence.
Looks like none.
All right. And then approve the consent agenda.
I'll move.
We have a second.
I'll second.
Thanks, Josh. Matt and Josh, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And then we will go on to Facilities Committee.
Yeah, Ken, we met, what was it, before? We, got an update, the courthouse data closet cooling is done. They installed a mini split to help with the heat issue they had there to protect the vital equipment. We talked about the jail remodel project. We got an update from that. Rod spoke about his presentation he gave about the House Capital Investment Committee presentation he had. Fixed the, talked about the courthouse sign repair, I think, right? They decided it was, not due to, frost, but some vibration issues probably and some settling.
They fixed the bottom and they'll do the brick after.
Yeah. That's about it there. If there's anything you can add, Matt, that I might have missed?
I think you cover it. They're just gonna do some
Pretty quick.
lighting, place some lighting fixtures
In the public, yeah, the bathroom of the courthouse.
and two compressors. They were on. Yeah, general maintenance.
I think I seen they installed
What's that?
the compressors.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they were, it was a planned thing, and then when we had our meeting, they were supposed to be there that day or the next day, and then they came.
We have a motion to accept the facilities committee report? Oh, there's no board action
No
required.
action, yeah.
So I just had a learning moment from Josh. I haven't been asking for discussion, so I apologize. And then also, Steve has an approved absence. He's at his granddaughter's wedding, so. Yeah,
That's good enough.
that's a good reason, yes. Personnel committee.
Do you want me to take it, Matt?
Sure.
All right, we did meet October 9th and following recommendations, Health and Human Services, a licensed independent clinical social worker position, approved the corresponding job description, authorized recruitment. The position is a newly created to help fill mental health services gap in our community. Position has been reviewed through the Springstead class and compensation system and is rated at a grade 14, salary 33.32 to 43.26. Position to be funded from grant monies and third-party billing. Requests is also made to backfill any subsequent vacancies that may occur due to internal promotion or lateral transfer. So with that, I just wanted to one of the things that we had asked is the third-party billing. So apparently you can bill the insurance for this. So it essentially, this position kind of almost funds itself, and we got some grant money to do it. So it is a pretty big need in the Health and Human Services area, and that is really kind of getting to be a lot of workload there. So this will be a good add, I think. So we'll move on to auditor treasurer, approve moving part-time clerk 3 position, auditor treasurer's office from part-time to full-time, effective October 23rd, 2023, due to the current workload in the office. The 2024 budget includes funding to make this change, and vacancy savings in the auditor budget will cover the increased costs this year. And also acknowledge the resignation of accounting technician Buffy Johansson effective October 5th, 2023, and approve the backfill of the position. Any subsequent vacancies that may occur due to internal or lateral transfer. And then in administration, approve to regrade the human resource generalist position from a grade 5 to a grade 7 to reflect an increase in job complexity and responsibility, and to approve the updated job description. The regrade was reviewed through the Springstead class and compensation system. With that, I will make a motion to approve all them.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion?
One of the things in the human resources generalist position, I know Jackie had sent that off actually to a third party just because it was kind of her direct supervision. So it was fully vetted by even an outside deal there. So that was good. We had a little discussion on that. So
What are there for, are these new positions? So we're actually growing.
the Health and Human
Government here.
Services is,
So that's adding
Will be paid for by.
the taxpayers.
that one is grant funded and insurance.
Grant.
Yeah, so grant monies, and then they can actually bill the patient's insurance as well. So that, it should have no effect on our budget. And then the auditor, that just went from part-time to full-time.
And then on the administration, who requested that's a pay raise?
Yep.
Move up. So
Yep.
who actually requested the pay raise for human
The-
resource generalist?
The
position?
supervisor.
The supervisor?
Yep. And like I said, that was actually sent off. They went through and redid it all, but then that was sent off to, what did they say, like a labor?
Yeah.
Like a third party because it was internal, just to vet it, everything there.
Do they do that for every position though?
If it is brought up, they can bring them up and do that. So that
Why
it
would-
does happen.
Why was this one brought up?
Because the responsibilities over the last couple of years, when that first started, it was more of like just a secretary, or not just a secretary, I don't mean that, but
No, I know.
like, yeah, like,
Important job. I know.
yeah, but like just kind of answering the phones and stuff. Well, now these guys are doing our agendas. They're doing a lot of the HR, like the,
Onboarding employees.
yep. Open enrollment, all their responsibilities have changed substantially in the last couple of years.
Well, who did it? Then who did it before?
We weren't
Somebody-
doing a very good job of it. How about, let's say that. It was, just wasn't happening very well. So, yeah. And I think you kind of take a poll of our HR department now, the employees are very satisfied with HR because they're getting a lot of answers and a lot of stuff accomplished now, where before it was you went there to get disciplined or something like that. Now,
Mhm.
I don't know. It seems like it's a good place now.
Any more discussion?
Yeah, and the Health and Human Services. So to add one more again. So it's a grant, so that grant is gonna cover that for perpetuity, forever?
Can I clarify that, Josh?
Yeah, go ahead.
So when the position first comes on, they have to build a client base and things. So when the position first starts, it will be grant funded. However, then as it builds a client base, then it will be fully funded with insurance billing.
Grant them insurance.
This is when we have an employee already that's got all of the designations that she needs to do this job, correct?
Correct.
Which is
Yeah. And
awesome because she
and-
knows the system and.
Yeah. And so what this will do is right now it's difficult for folks to get their initial diagnosis done. Unless you have an actual diagnosis, then you can't get into the system. So the hope is that this person can get that first chunk done so that they actually can get moved into the system rather than waiting months and months and months.
That's the most important feature.
Yeah.
They're sitting sometimes almost a year
Yeah. It doesn't help anybody.
with no help, right?
And correct me if I'm wrong, this is adult mental health or was this? Oh, okay, so all, okay. Which is a huge growing need. It's been a lot of problems there.
One more question. Didn't we just add two in relation to helping the elderly and people in need of mental health? Like,
We had a discussion about it. We had
it
our
was in
budget.
August.
She showed it in his house and did it for when she presented at that meeting.
So I thought we.
And there were two positions added in the
Yeah.
aging and disabilities unit, but that isn't mental health. That's for elderly and disabled folks.
And those two positions are also paid for
Right.
and won't come out of our budget.
One was paid out of it.
Any other discussion? We have a motion to accept that?
Yeah, it's more gonna.
And a second? Okay. All those in favor?
I,
All those opposed?
I opposed.
Motion carried. One. Please.
no, that's just information.
Or
Or do you
you
want-
need to do 7.
7.
It's the county attorney and sheriff salaries.
No, we just had discussion on that.
We'll do it in December.
Yeah.
Okay.
That in December.
Okay, and then we have, administration.
Oh, I did that one too. You're on
Oh.
commissioner update.
We're on commissioner updates. Wow, we're open. Greater Minnesota Parks and Trails Annual Meeting. JJ, did you want to take that one?
I did not attend that.
Okay. I will do that one. Renewals for rejoining this committee will be sent out by mid-November, so we'll be seeing something. There's going to be no due increase in 2024. They talked a lot about what's going to benefit to have on the trails. So there was discussion on whether we should have electric bikes being allowed on the trails because it interferes with people who just want to ride their bikes, or cannabis at the parks. So it was a lot of discussion of what to do to make it so that our parks and trails are safer. And then just talking about 4 million to the DNR to fund local and regional parks. So there's money out there that is available for people. Up to 76 parks and trails in greater Minnesota. I didn't realize that there were that many. So yeah, that was their annual meeting. East Central Solid Waste Commission's.
Can I answer
Oh,
or
yeah.
ask a
Yeah.
question? So the electric bikes are becoming a problem. That's.
They are
They're
because
too fast. or-
they're too fast and they get in people's way that just want to get on the bike trails and ride and enjoy the ride. Yeah.
What are they thinking to combat that? Like not let them on there?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. Or if there's certain parks that won't allow the e-bikes on there.
I never could imagine.
But that's one of the things that they're trying to figure out, if they need to stop the e-bikes from riding on the parks.
So
Trails.
you can walk on them though, right?
Right.
So you'd think that would be about the same speed difference. Yeah, I'm just saying like,
From a walk to a pedal bike.
yeah, a walk to a pedal bike would be probably similar to a pedal bike to an e-bike.
Right.
I didn't never think that would imagine.
I didn't either, but it was like 35 minutes of conversation. So yeah, it was.
I wonder how fast, I've never ridden one. How fast do they go?
I think 20 plus miles an hour.
I wonder if they can speed. But you can ride a pedal bike that fast.
Takes a lot of work.
Some people can.
And you can still ride pedal bikes on the highway
Yeah.
on a shoulder.
Have you, Jeff, have you guys had any issues with e-bikes? I mean, I see a lot of them. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, maybe they're talking more about some of the parks and trails that are, in the middle of St. Cloud, and people just want to be able to walk and enjoy. And then you got somebody zooming by and not paying attention, so it might be certain areas where it's more congested than Pine County where it's not as congested.
Oh, that's interesting. I guess that's something I'll have to pay attention to.
But who knew? I don't know. I never thought. It was kind of interesting that they brought it up.
Cool. Sorry.
Oh, East Central Regional Juvenile Advisory Committee.
I'll take that, Madam Chair. So, we had our meeting and, the first thing is the per diem is gonna change. First of the year. And it's gonna go up 10%. So, instead of paying $107,000, we're gonna spend $118,000. But, there was no but there, it's just the cost of doing business, but the savings we had so far that on a snapshot is we've had 350 beds used by our county, because we pay for one bed, got the contract. And we only paid for 273. But we have been using 350 beds during that, they call it kid beds during that time. So that the savings is like 23,000 by just being a contract bed. So that's working at least this year so far. The per diem rate is something they have to, it's just the cost of doing business for everything. The inflation's hitting their plant just like everywhere else. So, and staff, they've had a lot of staff turnover too, so that people are leaving and they have to rehire people and wages and things like that. Wages is the driver for everything. So I think Everything else was pretty much general meeting. Nothing. But our costs are going on.
NLX. NLX was interesting. One of the things that they're talking about is, well, first, the chair is leaving his job with the city of Minneapolis. And so they elected a new chair who is out of St. Louis County. One of the things that he's talking about is going to every township where this train is going to be going through and asking them for some money. And he said it might be $200 or, you know, wherever, but that's one of the things that they had stated was they would not be going after the little counties or the little townships and cities. So that's one of the things that they did bring up. There's a meeting coming up, I think it's on the 27th, with the city of Hinckley and MnDOT to talk about where the train station is going to be in Hinckley, because they're talking about moving that. And so I'm going to attend that just so that we know more of what's going on this side.
What's their model? Is it gonna be a daily run or a weekend run?
Oh, daily.
Daily?
It's going to be, yeah.
Like two
Yeah.
times or what? Up and back and up? And-
Well, we had talked at some point about 4 times a day, so you'll have, but then they had some of them that weren't gonna go all the way to Duluth. You know, they'd only go maybe to Duluth one time and then to Hinckley, and I don't know what they're gonna end up doing, to be honest with you.
How do they turn that thing around then, or they just push it and pull it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I thought that part.
Yeah,
When's that meeting, Terry, down in, Madam Chair, in Hinckley,
I believe it's the 27th.
October?
Yep.
What time do you know?
I do not know off the top of my head.
If you get a chance, I'd like to attend that also. Let me know, please.
Okay. East Central Solid Waste, Steve is not here. Does anybody know anything about that one? Went into it? Okay. East Central Regional Library, it was really quick. I mean, there's no legislative issues to talk about because they're not meeting. We talked about some things that are coming up and that the legacy committee is going to be paying for those. There's some really good things that are going on at the libraries. If you look at your library system and see what is being offered at the area. Legos for Kids is one of the fun things that a lot of kids have been taking up on. They're going to have some Halloween things. They've had artists come in. They've had authors. They've had photographers. They've got some really cool things going on in the libraries. So I would recommend you check them out. Labor negotiations.
Yeah, we've been busy. I think last week in 3 days, we had 4 different negotiations and before that, a couple of weeks. Tentatively, we have 5 PAs out of 9. So we still got 4 more that we're gonna try to get done, but I don't think we have any more dates yet, do we? We don't have any scheduled, so the rest of them we're trying to work in. But when did we start? July? I think we started our first one in July. So everyone we have out, we're settled, or we have tentative agreements. They have to vote on them. So, but yeah, so we were excited. We spent a lot of time in that little room last week.
Well, thank you for all your hard work. It is a lot. Project Rise. It always amazes me how well our offices work together. You know, you've got the sheriff, you've got human services, probation, the attorney's office, the schools, and how they all come together. One of the things that they're talking about is Devin from probation is going to be doing truancy classes. One of the things that we have right now is if you're truant so many times, you go to truancy court, which is really nice because Judge Wynn will go to the school and work with the parents and the kids to do the truancy court. But Devin's working on it where they can go and do classes, and it would be open to the kids and the parents to just say, okay, you've got five unexcused absences. And you're looking at truancy, and we just want to, you know, see if they can get them motivated before they end up having to go to truancy court, and just keep things on the down low for the kids, and maybe get the parents a little bit more active. So, you know, when you've got employees that come up with that kind of ideas on how to work with the kids to make things better for our families, it's always impressive to me.
What are our truancy numbers?
I don't know. I know that they said that truancy right now this year, before school even started, is really high and it's a really big concern. And that was before school started. So. Yeah. They have a meeting coming up on, I want to say November 2nd. See if I don't think I wrote down her name, Representative Weiss. Is that Weiss? Is going to be coming up and she's going to be meeting with probation and then our attorney's office and then going to our early report or evening reporting center to see how that works. And she's been really good on helping to promote things like getting more money for probation and just helping these types of work ethics or work priorities to succeed. So it's going to be interesting to have her up here and she's going to sit with Terry as he works with one of the kids that he works with to see how that works out and just kind of get a good idea of what Pine County is doing, which really, if you think about it, to have a representative from, I don't think she's from around here. Isn't she from the eastern or the western part of the state? To come to Pine County because Pine County is doing amazing things. I think that's pretty important.
One was the HHS person coming to go through the system.
That's on November 28th. Yes. And that's going to be, I'm excited about that one. That's going to be, DHS is going to be here and then the tribes are going to be here and the county is going to be here. And then we've got state representatives that are going to be here.
Gotta look at that antiquated system or.
Yep. But the one thing that we figured out is if the tribes have a problem, they go to DHS. If the counties have a problem, they'll go to DHS or try to go through the tribes. But because the three aren't at the table together, you're not getting anywhere. You've got those three kids in the playground and one is always left out, and we need to work together if we're going to pull this through. So that's going to be happening here on the 28th at 2, which is.
That's a step in the right direction.
Really exciting.
Streamline that mess.
Right.
Good.
So, yep. So that's coming up too. Northwest Area Transportation. Northeast Minnesota Area Transportation. Let's get the right one.
That was Steve too.
Oh, that's Steve. Okay. Soil and Water.
I didn't attend that one.
AMC District 1 meeting. Do you want to go?
Go ahead.
Here. Wow. First we had, let's go with the night before. We had the night before where we met at the library here in town. And we went through our Family Resource Center and showed everybody what the Family Resource Center was. And we were hoping to have counties come to that. But we found out the next day that we were fighting the Minnesota Twins game. And so a lot of them went to the hotel and watched the Twins. But we had AMC staff, which was really good because a lot of them don't work with the Family Resource Centers and they were able to see how it's benefiting and what kind of things you can do with it. So then they'll be able to promote it better. And then we had the Sowers family who gave us the grant to start our Family Resource Centers. And she came and it was fun to watch her to see how we put it together and to see how their money's being spent and to see the positive faces and attitude that came with that. And then we had Representative Nathan Nelson came also. So then to have somebody from the state that came to see how that worked out. So it was not as many people as we were hoping would be here, but it was a really good night. And then the next morning we had our district meeting. And what we did find out, we started out with what the questions and concerns are. We talked about the policies and did just a breakdown is what we felt are the policies that were coming forth were the most important. And one of them was chills and foreclosures. And so foreclosures, it was good. We heard from St. Louis County and from Matt Hilgard on what they're doing with Kelly in the foreclosure process and how they're working on that. I think you guys had hoped to be done a while ago.
And we have a meeting next week.
Yeah, they're still going at it because it's that good. To have that many counties and facilities and companies, you've got AMC, you've got the cities all working together to figure out how we can fix this system. We were just doing what we were told to do by state law, and then to have them say that we're wrong. Having all these people come together just shows the importance of how when we work together, we can do so much more.
What I thought was interesting, I think it was Matt that said that Memorial Forest, that we worried about the old stuff that the loggers kicked back to the state, or how that worked when they wiped it out originally. Then when the loggers left, they just left it for the counties and the states, and counties you take care of that. They're not gonna mess with that.
Yep.
That helps a lot.
And I think we've seen that a lot, which is why we have it in the stipulations that if you buy forfeited land, you can't clear cut it until you paid for it, because that's some of the stuff that was happening. So, Hills, when we were at the policy committee in Alexandria, I had heard that Rick Svay was in Washington DC for a fly-in with the western counties. It's called the Western something or other. And he did a fly-in in Washington DC to talk about PILT, which to me was really good. And so he did give an update on that and how the best way to lobby for something like that and how he's working with Montana. And, that's another thing where AMC is bringing together the western counties, and we asked to be a part of that. And it's still kind of questionable if they're going to keep us or if we're going to decide that it's worth it to be a part of the western counties. But for right now, we've been learning and growing with them and just helping to support them, which has been really good. To hear Rich talk about the things that he did in the relationships that he's building with the western states, that was really interesting. I don't know, I know there was a lot more.
It wasn't as, let's say, robust of a meeting as it has been in the past.
No.
Yeah, it was pretty quiet. But the levies that the counties were preliminary levies, they all listed their levies. So if you want to.
Do you have them?
Yeah, I have them.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, Aiken was at 3.7%. Carlton is at 3.99. Cook is at 9%. Lake is at 4%. Cooch wasn't there. That's why it was quieter. Cooch is a good group of guys. And St. Louis is at 2.9.
Well, there's a lot of new faces, ain't there?
Well, and Cooch, I think,
Who died, so. Yeah, we were sitting with at the last meeting.
was he from Cooch? Yeah, and I think Cooch has 4 new, and then they've got a couple vacancies, so they don't even have a full board. So.
Yeah, because that one guy just passed.
Yeah, so they're doing
But
some
yeah,
of that.
most of them guys that were,
I think the other thing that AMC is raising their dues.
Yes,
All the counties too.
yes.
I think 83 counties for sure. No, 83,000 was going on. And we have 87 counties. So.
Trying to, let's see. They had, I think their median was gonna be 5.7%, and so it would go. It's on somewhere. So it'd go 3.7 to 7.7, I think, and then the median would be that 5%. And they said that we can find out how much it is. The letters are going to be going out to Dave, I think, this week, as to what our increase is going to be on that. And one of the things that they talked about, well, I'll get into the district meeting on that too, then, is, or the directors meeting, is that people are asking that they raise it even more to help pay for more lobbyists. What they were talking about is the cities, you've got their association gets way more than we get, but they have a lot more money to do what they do with, and their dues are so much higher than what we're paying AMC. So one of the things that the directors are talking about is if we need to increase ours more so that we can get out and lobby harder and get more for the counties, because the counties are the ones that, we do so much more for the whole county, where the cities do, for their little cities. So just the difference in what we do versus the cities, we should be doing better than we are. So, and one of the things that
Cities are part of the county though.
right,
Yeah.
right, yeah. So. Kettle River,
That was moved to November 9th.
okay. Law Library,
I was in negotiations, I did miss it. And.
okay. Directors meeting, we just talked a little bit about that. We had talked a little bit before the meeting that AMC is going to be adding fees for rooms that are not used at the conferences. So if you decide that you're not going to go, let Debbie know as soon as possible so that we don't have to pay those additional fees for the rooms and for our registration costs. Branding meeting.
Yeah, we dialed into that yesterday. It was pretty good. I thought they had a lot of good information there. It was kind of more just a direct to kind of sew a bunch of it up. But, and they're gonna present to the board on the whole thing. But yeah, it was, I don't know, I was kind of excited.
Yeah, it was, they mostly wanted to show us the logo designs and then show how they're presenting the county. In kind of bullets, and it isn't all put together yet, but they have it all done. Yeah, we'll get to see the package together.
I'm excited to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. And we talked a lot about how they got to where they got, and they'll tell us all this. So it'll be, yeah, when that comes around, make sure you're here.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Leadership group. So I'm part of the next step on leaderships that's offered through NACO, where I got a scholarship from AMC, or actually from Blue Cross Blue Shield. And one of the things that they were talking about that yesterday was just an informational, so this is what we're going to be doing, but doing the slides and stuff. One of the things that they talked about is the way that we display what we're doing. And normally we say, hey, we're Pine County, we're a great place to live, come live with us. It's a great place. But he was bringing up how Apple does it, and they do the why. You know, normally I have a totally different book for that at home, but you do the why first. You know, why are we so good? You know, and that's normally the question that you answer last. So just to do things in a backward position has helped Apple to get people to stand in line for their iPhones for 12 hours so they can be one of the first people to own them. That was never me, just for the record. But I mean, because
Yesterday.
oh, is it? Yeah. It is. It's important how you do that. And so when we look at how we do our county, first of all, they said do it with joy, which is important to, I mean, if we are all glum and nasty around here, you know, we're going to get glum and nasty, right? But if you show joy, you're going to get that positive and the better. And so, but just learning how to scope out and to do things, it's an interesting course. Finance, pension, and intergovernmental was also yesterday. That's the paper that I handed out to you guys and had you check boxes that you thought were important. They're trying to figure out what policies we want to take to the federal government to have that taken care of and to do what's best for our areas. So thank you for looking at those and checking off on that box. I appreciate it. I'll get that taken care of today. No, there's not. There's the IRS notice 2023-62 provides that the administration transition period through 12/31/25. So they're looking at changing the way that pensions are handled, which is that first one that you had checked on the box. The one thing that came out of it is that if you have multiple employers, so let's say Kent works for Pine County and then he works for the city of Pine City and he works for somebody else. They don't have to take all of those employers and take all the information together to figure out what his pension stuff will be. So that's nice for us to know that we don't have to exceed and go way further. Thanks for being here, Ken, so I could use you. So it's always interesting to hear what's going on in other states. Are there any others?
I don't have none.
I want to give a shout out to the people who did the wellness fair. It was amazing. I went down and I joined them for that. They used the whole facility to do that. They had the walking trail and you walked the trail and you had to get to the other end to get a sticker so that you could get a point. They had dogs there that you could play with and pet just for relaxation. They had I want to see it if it ever gets done. The weather was not very cooperative, but they had a painting that's a scene from somewhere in Pine County that was a paint by number. And so there were a lot of people painting on that. And then they had to move it inside because the weather was, it was just blowing all over the place. They had the beanbag toss games. They had learning how to do exercises at your desk, which if you sit at a desk all day, that's pretty important to know how to do that stuff. They had fitness. They had massages, they had, just all kind, it was phenomenal. They did an amazing job. It was very fun to be there and to watch the employees all get together, you know, for all the years that I worked for the county. I can't tell you that I know human service people because I never worked with human service people. So to see all these people coming together that normally don't, it was just, it was fun. It was a very fun day. Unfortunately, the food trucks didn't show, or the one that did show didn't have propane. So they had to walk down the street to the senior center to eat, but it was a very good day. And so thank you to the employees that worked so hard to put that together for our employees. And that's it for today. Check out your upcoming meetings, see if you have any questions or anything, you know where to reach out. And we will adjourn.